Hi guys, Jay Smith here, down at Bury Golf Range in Suffolk. Cold again, it's winter. Soon be summer, hopefully. Right, ES21 wedge time. Now originally I was going to do this content on the course, but because of the current climate, we'll call it, that's somewhat difficult at the moment. So I was originally disappointed, but then do you know what, I thought to myself, and this is going to be a little bit controversial, but let's get it out there anyway, because I don't mind saying things a little bit controversial. My channel is much more driven around validated performance data. So it's not a movie, it's not cinematic. The information that I try and put in these videos is based for the person who is actually looking for a certain type of golf club, and they want to look at my content to physically understand if that golf club is potentially worth them testing or buying. Simple as that. So the only issue when you have entertainment based content is sometimes it's very thin on the informative parts about a golf club and whether it's something that you should or should not use. So different golf clubs have got different strike point tendencies. So if you're someone who hits out the toe, there's certain golf clubs which are a lot more forgiving out the toe, some more out the heel and all that lot. And there's multiple different things, but that's just one thing straight away that golf clubs differ. And depending on what you do, will depend on if a golf club will work for you or not. Very much so like the ES21 wedge. So the ES21 wedge from Mizuno, right? New one, it's a completely different look now for Mizuno, gone black. Now they did go kind of gunmetal black, didn't they? Not so long ago. I think they've dumped it now. They have, haven't they? Yeah, they've dumped it last year. But the ES21, it comes in, I think it's at 54 degree to 62. I might be wrong with the 54, might be 56. I think it's 54, but yeah, down there. I'll try and see if I can find it, stick it down there. They come in two soles. You've got the standard sole and the wide sole. I've got the 60 in the wide, and I've got the 55 in the standard. So one thing that I do find for myself is that if I'm going to miss the golf ball in any way, shape or form, is I'll have a little bit of ground interaction for the golf ball. I do have a tendency to get a little bit duffy from time to time, and from my testing so far, I have found that the wide sole, just that lump resisting the ground, helps me on the odd occasion when I do get a little bit just before the golf ball, stops it from digging. So it depends on what you do. You've got different sole varieties. Yeah, you kind of idea. But the main swan song of this little thing, over my T20 wedge, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do some strike-based data stuff to show you necessarily what happens when you deviate away from the effective middle, because a T20 wedge, and most wedges out there, not including the high toe wedges like this is, their centre of gravity is slightly, their sweet spot is slightly generally towards the heel, and that is where I gravitate on my T20. So when I very first got these, I had a little hit with them and they didn't feel very nice, and I thought, ooh, Mizuno, what have you done? Have you dropped a ball on this one? Because your new lovely ES21 wedge doesn't feel very good. However, after making a little bit of a discovery, I found that if I think about towing these fractionally, not massively, but you know, fractionally towing them, it effectively brings my strike from slightly heel to middle. And that's where the sweet spot is on this thing. I'm so used to hitting the heel. When I say a heel, I'm not talking shankalish, but I am talking the fact that I do gravitate fractionally. And I'll do some, I'll tell you what, after this, I'll go do some shots and I'll kind of show you what I mean, because the whole idea of hitting the sweet spot is consistency of spin and, most importantly, distance. When you're going for a certain distance, now these are wedges, they're all wedges will do 30 yards, 15 yards, little chips and stuff like that. It comes down to the player, their own skill level of how good they are with a wedge. All wedges will do a very, very good job nowadays. But little things like strike point, which is a massive thing, can make a huge difference to potentially your control over how far that golf ball is going to go. and the consistency of how far that golf ball is going to go. So now I'm actually trying to hit these slightly out the toe, very fractionally, and actually making more middle contact. Do you know what? They feel lovely. They feel much like a T20 does, or any other wedge. I mean, these are kind of hollow. It's a very interesting, if you were to take the face off, you have like a hollow bit here and then a lump of just metal right on the toe side to try and shift the center of gravity towards the toe. Well, straight towards the toe, away from the heel, actually into the middle. And if you look at the back, they've got like a little kind of BMW logo, but it's obviously not a BMW logo. It's not. But what it is a little marker as such, that if you could take the shaft and grip out and you just had the head and you had like a T or something, you could balance like that. You could balance it on there. There you go. Right in the middle of the face. Now, it has got a very, very thick top line. Very, very, very thick top line, but it's chamfered, so you don't see it. So if you go down to the ball, it's got hardly any offset, if not this, I don't know, it looks basically not onset, but it's basically straight down the line, which does look nice. It is a distinct high toe shape. So when you're opening the face in a bunker, try and get the golf ball up in the air. The problem with when you open the face is you then add quite a margin of vertical strike point error. And if you have a standard wedge, there is an extra help on here. So as soon as you start opening the face, and if you do catch one, especially in a bunker or fluffy rough, a little bit high in the face, what you can get, you're hitting so far above the sweet spot, you're going to get a kind of a wafty kind of flight. It's going to launch fairly high, but it's going to have no speed to it whatsoever, and it's going to have not a lot of spin, so it's not going to really do the job that it's designed to. You start getting a high toe wedge and start whacking loads and loads of weight up the top and getting more of the sweet spot in the middle of the head, you can miss slightly high toe on that bit there, and you're not too far away from the center of gravity, i.e. the sweet spot, so you can control launch and also, most importantly, spin, which will then gives you obviously the carry distance that you want, and yada yada yada. So I'll just go hit one more, because these actually do feel quite nice when you hit them at the middle, not the heel. And then what we'll do, I'll tell you what I'm going to do now, a bit of fun. I'm going to go show you now basically what I was doing when I first got these. So treat me as an ignorant person going in. I've got my strike tendencies, and I'm going to go out trying out wedges. And if the interesting bit is the difference between the consistency that I've got with mine over these, if I hit them in the same spot and yada yada yada. Let's go do that, because at the moment I have to feel with this one that I'm having to fractionally toe it to get it in the middle. With mine, I can just swing normal. So let's go do that. Let's go get the iPad, capturing loads and loads of times, etc. Let's go get some data sets to show you exactly what or how good potentially this ES21 wedge with all that weight lumped over here could be for you. Right guys, it's time for the numbers. Interesting one, different start though. Over the passage of a couple of months, I've been capturing information from a multitude of different people, because I wanted to get an understanding myself as well over a massive data set of different people. What are their tendencies when it comes to strike of their own wedge? So this is not the ES21, this is, I think there was 6 amateur golfers and me, and something like that. There was about, we took 100 shots. We took 100 shots there. You can see, I'll pop the whack up on the screen straight away. Look, there you go. There's 100 shots. And the strikes vary, as you can see by the graphic, varies. So someone who's, look at the pattern there, if someone's hitting high toe or slightly toe or even middle, and they've got a custom wedge with the effective sweet spot slightly heel biased, they're going to suffer greatly from spin control, and also, more importantly than anything else, ball speed distance control. That's the biggest problem that you get. If you're going to hit away from the sweet spot, you're going to suffer in distance control. Simple as that. If you're got on that pattern there, if you're someone who hits the heel as a strike pattern and you've got, say, a T20 or another wedge which has the effective sweet spot slightly in the heel bound, well, that's great, and that's what you should have. Your custom fit strike point for that golf club, well done, you're going to be consistent. Or any issues you're going to have in consistency is not down to the club, it's down to you. So have lessons, get more consistent. So let's go to the test that I've done. I've hit a few shots with my T20, my 58. Let's just go club data so we can actually see the strikes. You can see there, by look at the graphic, I basically grouped within reason, slightly heely. That's my normal classic grouping, just slightly heely. If you look at my ball dispersion distance wise, carry, worst one was 91, best one was 95. When I say best, longest, does not best, but yeah. The difference in dispersion front to back was 4 yards. And I only hit one of them at 91 and one at 92. The rest were 93, 94, 95. So bearing in mind, generally speaking, with the odd miss that I'm going to have, my nominal dispersion pattern front to back with my 58 is like 3 yards. It's nothing at all, but yeah. It's 4 yards in totality. Right, so this was me gravitating slightly towards the heel as I normally do. That's where the sweet spot is on a T20. So now I tried to get the sweet spot as such. I tried to keep, try and move my strike over slightly towards the toe. So just fractionally over middle. Or the T20 wedge, this is going to be punishing because remember, with the T20 wedge and other wedges like it, the sweet spot is gravitated slightly towards the heel anyway. So if I move towards the toe, it's getting further away from the sweet spot. It's generally not very good. If you look at club data on there, you can see by the picture, I have moved it. It's gone across the horizontal plane as such, to the toe side. Yeah, feels awful. But you can see there, toe. Ball data on it, now I've gone from 90 yards to 99. So now I've gone from effectively a 3 to 4 yard dispersion front to back to 9. That's a lot. Now that's all right if it's going sort of 95 yards on average, but I need to know that I'm hitting a certain number. Now bear in mind guys, I'm quite a consistent golfer. So I'm looking for smaller jumps, smaller tiny differences. The more handicap you put into this, the bigger the gap's going to be. The problem is the bigger the gap's going to come from your strike pattern, which is going to have even further misses attributed to it. So it is vital that you make sure that you get your wedge suited to your strike point. So in come the ES21, done the exact same thing that I did with my T20, tried to hit it middle to slightly toe. And as you can see there, if you look at by the club head data, I am fractionally towards the toe, not by much. Was it 2 mil toe, 1 mil low? But you can see there, generally speaking, I'm fairly middle. Look what it's done when it comes to the ball data. 3 yards. That's my dispersion front to back now. And that's a solid 3 yards. That's arguably as good, if not better, than my T20. I'd need a longer data set, and plus as well, remember guys, this ES21 wedge, I'm having to feel like I'm fractionally towing it. I'm not in my T20, with my heel strike, slightly heel strike anyway, I can just hit after hit after hit after hit, and I would argue that I'd be much more consistent in the long run, not artificially trying to generate a different strike point miss. I'm lucky that I'm able to move my strike depending on what I want to do. You guys aren't like that, most of you guys, so you don't have that option to be able to do that. So it is imperative that you get the right wedge sorted out for the strike pattern which you have. But going back to the first one, where we saw all those strike patterns of those 100 shots from all different people. And then we were running from high handicappers to high single digits in between, and me that's in there. So you can see the range of shots on a wedge is huge. Make sure you get custom fit, guys. Got to get custom fit for these. Just because they're wedges doesn't mean you can just buy them off the rack. You can if you want to, but the potential gains in consistency that you're losing by not properly getting custom fit is quite a vast amount. So hope you liked that one, guys. If you did, click the old like button below. Down the bottom there, little red button, subscribe, and if you could, next to it, little bell icon. If you click that one, that'll let you know next time I upload another video. So I hope you're well, and we'll see you again soon.